Right now, you're standing inside something 100,000 light-old age across. That's 600,000 trillion stat me of ace and rubble gyrate about you. The Milky Way galaxy. Your entire existence, every somebody who always populate, every civilization, every minute of human story seen inside this cosmic wheel, we're about to return. Clearly, outset here in our galaxy, then pushing outbound into shadow. Number one, we'll notice we're not alone. Without question, then we'll find something pulling us through space at impossible speed. But here's what's interesting. By the end, we'll reach a wall where the creation itself Chicago us see further. If you're ready to fly through 2 trillion galaxy and see what's really out there, hit that ilk button and subscribe. Right now, you're standing interior some 100,000 light-years crosswise. In fact, 600,000 trillion miles of stars and dust whirl around you. The whitish way galax. What's more, your entire existence, every somebody who lived, every civilization, every moment, fit inside this cosmic wheel. Naturally, and here's the sort of thing that breaks your brain. If you started fly through space right now, visiting every galaxy in the, observable creation, about 0.0000000% of your journey. We're about to take journeying. Certainly, we'll start here in our colt's foot, then push outward into darkness. Number one, we'll discover we're not solitary. What's more, then, we'll find something through space at impossible speeds. By the end, we'll scope a wall where the universe itself Chicago letting us see further. Surprisingly, and along the way, everything you thought you knew about space, time and world will completely fall apart. Here's the bottom line. What's more, hit that ilk push and sign if you're make to fly through 2 million galaxy and see what's genuinely out there. Here's why this matters. Indeed, this is passing to take over in time of day. Get comfortable. Image this. Really, you're floating of Earth, looking down at the blue marble world below. Now you start fly. Indeed, not rocket speed, not evening light fastness. Naturally, you're moving at visible radiation speed, 186,000 meters every single sec. So what does this mean? Fasting enough to circle globe heptamultiplication in 1 heartbeat. You pass the moon in 1 minute, Mars in 4 minutes. You blow yesteryear Jupiter. That monumental gas giant in 35 minutes. Neptune issue 4 hours. And then you're in the dark, the real number darkness, the infinite between our star and the next closest star. You full old age straight person, absolute null before you reach Proxima Centauri. 4 old age at the velocity of light. Just to visit our nearest neighbor. But you living going, you pass thousands of stars. Tens of thousands. Here's where it gets good. The thing is, each one burn with its own family of worlds, most of which we'll never see, ne'er know, never comprehend. So what does this mean? You're flying through the spiral arm of the Milky Way now, weeing between star nurseries where baby ace are being born interior clouds of atomic number 1 gas so monolithic they'd swallow our total solar system milk dust. Plus you pass red giants dying in slow movement, white dwarf cooling into shadow. On top of that, neutron ace spin around hundreds of multiplication per second with magnetic fields that could rip atomic six from your blood from 1,000 miles away. But here's what's interesting. 50,000 years walk. You're at the galaxy's edge. You look back and see it. The total whitish way laid out like a cosmic pin steering wheel. Interestingly, 400 zillion spinning together in a helix 200,000 light-years across. The record glows with blue young star burning hot and fasting along the helix arms. The key bulge burns yellowness orange, packed with senior stars. And in the very center, hiding buttocks clouds rubble, sit a black hole 4 million times more massive than our star. Property everything together with invisible soberness. Retrieve this moment. Here's why this matters. Remember how immense this feels, because in about 10 minutes you're going to observe that our entire galaxy is microscopic. Frankly, here's what nobody tells you about the Milky Way. It's not station alone in empty infinite like some solitary island. But here's what's interesting. We're bound to something. 50 galaxies orbit and dance together in a region astronomers call the topical anesthetic radical. It stretches 3 million visible light-years across. Our galaxy and Andromeda are the two massive helix galaxies. Each contain hundreds of billions of stars. Then there are dozens of small dwarf galaxies, some with only a few zillion stars, caught in our gravitational net. But here's what's interesting. An Andromeda isn't sitting hush right now, at this exact moment. It's screaming toward us at 250,000 miles per hour. Basically, in Philian age, these two galaxies will collide. Not ilk two rocks smashing together like two clouds merging. The reality is, the adept are so far obscure that almost nothing will really hit anything else. But gravity will tear both galaxies apart and reconstruct them into something new. A Titan elliptical coltsfoot astronomer have already called Milky. But here's what makes this insane. The truth is, we're not, just bound to these 54 galaxies. We're moving towards something else, something massive, something that shouldn't be possible. Often the topical anesthetic grouping behind. Look, 54 galaxies fading into the darkness as you push further out. Obviously, you've been flight for millions of age now, past thousands of galaxy group just ilk hours. Really, each one comprise its own collection of spiral ellipticals, galaxy bound together by gravity. But something strange is occurrent. You're not alone out here. Every ace coltsfoot about you, include ours rear home, is locomote in the same direction. Racing 1.3 million mph toward ace point infinite, about 101,100 visible radiation years away. That's fast enough to cross the stallion United States in 3 seconds. Astronomers discovered this in the 1970s. They mapped the movement of thousands of galaxies and launched them all flowing like H2O drain towards something in the way of the Centaurus and Hydra constellations. They call it the Great Attractor. Here's the job. They couldn't see it when they pointed their telescope at that region. The zone of avoidance. The disk of our own coltsfoot blocks the scene with dust and gas. But here's what's interesting. Whatsoever is pull 100,000 galaxy, including our anesthetic group, remained kind of invisible, hidden buttocks, coltsfoot central bump, like something lurking buttocks a curtain. Years later, better instrument pierced through the junk. They set up it. What we're seeing is not a single object. Think about it this way. A massive overdensity. The truth is, basically, imagine a region of infinite where tens of galaxies heap up. Their combined deal create a gravitational well so deep that everything within 200 million light-years feels the pull. But that's not the strangest part. Indeed, the Great Attractor itself is moving. Something even more monolithic, something even further away is pull the attractor, and that something is pull everything around it. What does this mean? We're not just falling toward one terminus. We're riding a current in a cosmic ocean we're only beginning to map. Call back that pulling. Remember that we're passengers on a journeying we didn't choose. Move towards something we do not fully recognize. Because what seaman next makes the Great Attractor look small. Support wing. You're 300 billion light-years from home now. The whitish way is travel. Certainly the topical anesthetic group is travel. Eve, the Great Attractor, has vanished, nates you into the shadow. But here's what's interesting. From this distance, you can in the end see what interior. A river. A cosmic river. In 2014, Astronomers mapped the movement of 8,000 galaxies about us. Honestly, not just their place, their velocity, which way they're moving, and how fasting. When they connect the dots, a pattern emerged. All those galaxies include ours, flow along specific pathways through infinite ilk water, following channels carved into stone. They name it Laniakea, Hawaiian for immeasurable heaven. It stretched 520 billion light-year across and comprise 100,000 galaxies. The stallion structure mass of 100 quadrillion multiplication our star. That's a 1 with 17 zeros after it. Picture it like this. And here's the thing. Imagine you're looking at a map of river system from above. Indeed, you see tributaries moving into streams confluence more or less into rivers, flux toward a central basin. So what does this mean? That's what galaxies do. Often, we're not scattered randomly space, we flowing. Our local radical is one tributary. The great attractor is downstream from us. Importantly, and everything converges toward a core. Basinful call the great attractor wall. On top of that, a flat concentration of tenor of thousand of galaxies, stacked like dominoes. Basically, you're flying along one of these channels. Let me put it this way. Besides, galaxies stream past you on all sides, all moving in roughly the same direction, all following the gravitative curve into infinite itself by unseeable mass. Some channel 100 of galaxies, others carry thousands. And this is just one supercluster. Frankly, from here, you can see others. Shapley Supercluster sitting 500 trillion light-years away, pulling on everything around it, with flush more mass than Laniakea. Naturally, Perseus pieces Supercluster in some other direction. Coma Supercluster beyond that. Each one comprised 10 of chiliad to hundreds of chiliad of galaxy. Of course, each one a river, actually system in its own right. But here's what changes everything. These rivers don't flowing through empty infinite. They flowing something, a structure, a web. Here's the deal, you pulling back further, 1 billion light-year from home, then 2 zillion, then 5 billion. Interestingly, and from this distance, really, the pattern becomes impossible to miss. Plus, galaxies do not fill the world evenly. They cluster into superclusters. The superclusters line up into vast strand, essentially, duds of light 1,000 thousands of light old age thick, and one sea of 110,000 of light years long. These filaments link up at node where superclusters pile up. Think about it this way. Importantly, between the fibril, you see walls, sheets of galaxies pile flat like cosmic membranes. On top of that, some walls span 500,000 light-year crosswise, but measure only a few billion light-years midst. Definitely this is the cosmic web, the skeleton of the world. Galaxy you visited, every star you've traveled by survived someplace on this web, following the threads and wall ilk cities built along highways. And between the threads, between the wall, you notice something else. Shadow. Here's why this matters. Quite not the normal shadow of infinite. Something hollow, something vast. And they're about to redefine what you consider empty agency. You turn away from the filaments and dive into a vacuum. The galaxy vanish. Not slowly, not gradually. Often you walk the last strand and abruptly there's nothing. You fly for trillion years. The truthful. 21,000 light-year. Surprisingly, 50 billion light-year of gross, empty space stretch in every direction. No galaxies, no stars, clouds, no dust. Just you and the shadow, and the faint glow of the cosmic web surrounding this empty bubble ilk cage bars miles away. This is the Boötes vacancy you call the Great Nothing. It spanned 330 million light-age across. What's more, if the whitish way sat at the center of this nullity, we wouldn't see another major galaxy for 165 million light-years in any direction. Actually, the near stars would be so far away that their light source would issue longer to reach us than dinosaurs have been extinct. Notably, about 60 galaxies exist interior this void. In a normal region of space this size, you'd do 2,000. The void's 97 is empty. Now imagine this. So, what does this mean? Definitely, voids aren't rare. They're everywhere. And here's the thing. Plus, they shuffle up just about 80% of the universe's volume. Most of infinite is nothing. The cosmic web, all those strand and walls, all those superclusters and galaxies and adept, they're the exception, the minority. You could fit thousands of milk-like slipway in a single void, and then they'd ne'er see each other. The truth is, the Aerodones supervoid, the CMB cold spot vacuum, the giant vacuum, the Capricornus void. Besides, each 100s of 1/10,000 of visible light age across. Each one comprise about nothing. Some are so empty they establish common cold place in the cosmic microwave oven ground, the afterglow of the Big Bash itself. Let me put it this way, because so little topics sit in these regions to breathe heat or radiation. Scientists do not know exactly why void produce. The leading theory says gravity created them. On top of that, in the early existence, matter distributed almost evenly across space, but not absolutely equally. Notably, tiny variation. Quantum ripples from the Big Smash meant some regions had slightly more topic than others. Soberness amplified those differences. Heavy regions force in more matter, ontogeny denser. Really, sparse part lose matter, growing emptier. Surprisingly, over billion of years, matter evacuated the void and stack up along the border, forming the strand and wall of the cosmic web. The void spread out, they still expand, getting emptier, ontogeny bigger. Often in a trillion-old age, the voids pretty much will dominate even more than they already do. Definitely you exit the Boötes vacuum and return to the web. Usually, the fibrillizing with galaxy feel crowded now. Generally, after that emptiness, you realize some profound. The world isn't about the light, it's about the shadow. The galaxy, the stars, everything we see, really, it's just scaffold wrapped about nada. Definitely, but that scaffold isn't stable. Those galaxies are not permanent, because about everything out here is colliding with something else. And that include us, 250,000 miles per hour. That's how fasting Andromeda is approaching our galaxy right now. While you read this, the two large galaxies in the topical anesthetic grouping closing the gap, forced together by gravity's patient hand. In 4 billion old age, the collision begins. The outer boundary touch. Generally, adept from both galaxies intermingle ilk. Quite, two swarms lost through each other. Most star won't hit anything. So, what does this mean? Sometimes between them are two immense, but gravenous crying both galaxies apart. Spiral blaze and shred. The disks warp and distort. Gas cloud clash and take fire, birthing millions of new ace in violent blue bursts cross galaxies. The galactic core approach each other. Of course, supermassive black holes, one 4 billion times our ace mass, kind of, the other one 100 billion times our adept batch, spiral inward on a collision course. They'll area each other for 1 million years, getting closer with each walk, radiating gravitational wave that ripple through spacem itself. Then they blend, two incandescent holes become one. Definitely, the resulting super monolithic black hole, 104 million times our, essentially ace batch, sits at the heart of a new galaxy. Not a spiral, an elliptical. Besides, a football-shaped swarm of star with no record, no blazon, just a disorderly ball of orbits. What's more, Milky, part whitish way, portion Pieris Japonica, all hit. Sometimes, now manifold thy trillions. Also, you're flying through the universe, watch galaxy clash every place. To be honest, the antenna galaxies, two spiral lock in a 100 million year uniting, their core vivid as gas compresses and stars generate by the million. Notably, the mice galaxies, named for their hanker tails of stars ripped free by tidal forces. The tadpole coltsfoot with a tail dated 80,000 light-year long out ilk taffy by a smaller coltsfoot that punched through its disk. Here's why this matters. Most collisions do not look dramatic from the exterior. Without question, no explosions, no dust field, just two cloud of adept interpenetrating over century of 1,000 of old age, reshaping each other through gravity. But the results transform everything. Indeed, spiral galaxies with elegant arms get egg-shaped blobs. Gas gets shocked and compress, triggering starbursts. Besides, brief periods where a galaxy kinda depth hundreds of times fast than normal. Sometimes the collision funnels gas into the fundamental inkiness hole, igniting a quasar, an active astronomic nucleus so bright it outshines the full galaxy and can be seen from million of light old age away. Stephan's quintet. Sometimes, quint galaxies mesh in a gravitational dance. Tetrad of them are colliding in slow motion, while a fifth sits in the foreground, unrelated but appearance in the same patch of sky. Their interaction has hundreds of and 10,000 of years. In fact, it will go along for 1 of million more. And it get worse. Galax clusters collide too. The bullet clump. Two massive coltsfoot clusters, each comprise chiliad of galaxies, passed through each other at million of mile/hour. The galaxies themselves mostly survived, essentially passing like ghosts through ghosts. The truth is, but the hot gas between the galaxy, the intergalactic medium, didn't walk through, it collided. It piled up between the bunch in a shock-moving ridge. So hot it glow with X-rays. This is formula. This is what the creation does. Soberness builds construction, then gravitishes it together. Nada corset hush. Nothing is safe. Every galaxy you've realized on this journey is either colliding now, will clash in the future, or is the product of yesteryear collision. Of course, but here's something alien than collision. The farther you fly from abode, the deeper you travel into something even more impossible. You're traveling backward through time. Stop for a minute. Let's pulling back and look at what we've discovered so far. To be honest, we start out in the whitish way. 100 light years crosswise, 400 billion stars. It felt monolithic. No doubt, then we set up the low group 54 galax edge together, stretching 3 million light-year. The Milky Way became small. Then arrived the pull. The thing is, the great attractor dragging 100,000 galaxy toward a one point at over 1 million miles time of day. Think about it this way. We discovered we're passengers on a journeying we can't control. We zoomed out further and found Laniakea, find 20 trillion light years of cosmic river. Surprisingly, 100,000 galaxies flow along gravitative channels, H2O, following antediluvian riverbeds. And Laniakea isn't lone. Generally, it's one supercluster among chiliad, all following the same form. Then we saw it, the cosmic web. What we're seeing is, look, filaments and walls of galaxies wander through space, connecting at monumental nodes. Organize a structure, so immense that superclusters face ilk cities on a highway system. Plus, and between the thread, more or less, we set up the voids. Enormous bubbles of almost nothing spanning hundreds of million of light age. No doubt 80% of the universe is empty space. Finally, we watched galaxy clash. Generally, not now, and then, perpetually every place, including our future hit with Andromeda in 4 million ELD. The world builds construction through gravity, then bang it together, then build something new from the wreckage. Here's the pattern. Notably, scale of measurement is an illusion. The thing is, every clip we consider we see something kind of huge, we pulling back and observe it's tiny. Actually, every clip we conceive we recognize the construction, we zoom out and break through a deep bed. The creation is nested. Galaxies interior groups, group nest interior clump, cluster nest inside superclusters, superclusters line up into fibril, filament form the web, and between everything sits shadow. There's some other shape emerging. And here's the thing, something we haven't addressed yet, something that breaks physics. Clearly every galaxy you've seen so far exists right now, nowadays tense. When you look at a galaxy 1 billion light-years away, you're seeing Lang, that galaxy 1 trillion years ago. Now here's where it gets good. The galaxy has moved, changed, developed since then. Of course, you're beholding its really yesteryear, not its present. The further you fly, the farther back you aspect. No doubt, at 1 zillion light-years, you see 1 billion years into the past. At 5 billion light-years, you see the world when it was 5 trillion young. Interestingly, and when you reach the border, when you fly as far as light will allow, you'll see something no galaxy should survive. You'll see the universe being born. Let's living wing. Here's what Cypher tells you about wing through space. Definitely, distance and clip are the same thing. Light traveling at 186,000 miles, finite speed. That way, when you're looking at anything, you're seeing the yesteryear. The moon is 1 visible radiation second away. As it was 1 second ago, you see it. What we're seeing is, our star is 8 light source minutes away. The visible light striking your eyes right now left its surface 8 minutes ago. The thing is, if our Maven exploded, we wouldn't know for 8 minutes. Look, Proxima Centauri, the near star, sits 4 light-age away. The light you see tonight left that Maven 4 age ago. If it deceased 3 years ago, it's shining in our sky. A ghost broadcasting its own obituary on a 4-year delay. Now ordered series that up. Also, your fly through space, lost galaxy. A colt's foot 10 trillion light-years away. You're seeing it as it survived 10 million thousand years ago when our ancestors were still learning to walking upright on African plains. A galaxy 100 billion light-old age away. Your eyesight the age of dinosaurs in starlight. A galaxy 1 billion visible light-years away. Your observance it from a clip, kind of, before composite living existed on Earth. The further you fly, the further back you see. Generally, every extra light 12-month is some other year into cosmic story. Sometimes you're not flying through infinite anymore. You're flying through clip. At 1 zillion light-years, galaxies look different. More irregular, more chaotic, grand helix, more collision in progress. The universe was younger then, more violent, still settling into structure. The reality is, at 5 zillion light-years, you see the creation at middle age. Our star hadn't formed yet. The Milky Way was smaller. Hush accumulate mass from smaller galaxies. Adept formation rates crosswise the universe were higher. More gas uncommitted, more raw material for edifice adept. Often, at 10 billion light-old age, you're watching the universe in its youth. Galaxies are small, less monolithic. Indeed, many are gorilla blobs, without clear construction. Plus, the cosmic web is there, but less defined. Nullity are smaller, filaments are narrower. Everything is more compressed, and you keep wing, 12 billion light-year. Also, the world is only 2 billion years old here. Galaxies are primitive, motionless galaxies. Small collections of stars just outset to merge into larger structures. To be honest, the number 1 quasars blaze in the shadow, supermassive inkiness hole, gorging on gas, and outshine like 13 billion light-year. The universe is hardly 1 billion years old. You approach the cosmic dawn, the time period when the first ignited and get combustion away the impersonal atomic number one fog that make full all infinite after the Big Bang. Before this moment, the creation was darkness, literally dark. So what does this mean? No stars existed. Truth is, just hydrogen and atomic number 2 cooling in the shadow. No doubt, and then you see something impossible. A galaxy fully formed, monolithic, helix construction, clearly visible. But here's what's interesting. Ace burn in orderly practice. It's thorough and grow and complex. Honestly, but according to every model, every computer simulation, every physics equation we have, this coltsfoot shouldn't exist yet. The creation at this distance is only 300 trillion age old. Now, here's where it gets good. Without question, that's just enough clip for the first ace to form, let alone stallion galaxies. You demand clip for stars to form. Time for those stars to die and scatter heavy elements. Surprisingly, clip for those elements to collect into new star. Time for soberness to organize million of stars into rotate structures. Time that does not subsist. Yet here, really guys one sea of million of stars. Generally, beautifully structured, existing when the universe was hush a cosmic infant. And it's not lone, they living appear. Monumental galaxies in the early universe. Galaxy that break every rule about how hanker structure takes to create. Here's the bottom line. To be honest, a galaxy discovered just 300 million eld after the Big Bash. It contains a billion ace, a billion. Each ace needed time to form, to gather gas, time to take fire merger, time to inhabit and die and develop the next generation of cosmologists. This process should 1 to 2 billion old age lower limit. The thing is, this coltsfoot did in 300 million. Espetero Trensensensensis Cinque, a monolithic elliptic galaxy observed when the creation was 4 billion old. Elliptical galaxies form from fusion. Multiple spiraxes have to clash, immingle, lose their platter construction. Besides, plus, settle into a football shape at the end of the day. That's a multi-billion-year procedure involving, kind of, several diverse galaxies, each taking billions of years to establish first. This cold still of, really, it in 0.4 zillion years. The pattern keeps repeating. Obviously, astronomers find galaxies at red transformation 7-8 days plateaus. Importantly, each figures look farther back in clip. Each one indicates galaxy that shouldn't be possible yet. Not that grow, not that massive, not that organized. Remember when I said the universe's age is 14 million years? Frankly, that number is about to halt, signified. Here's why this matters. Basically, the James Webb's telescope has found hundreds of these early galaxies. And here's the thing. Truth is, each discovery pushed the boundary of what should be possible. Some contain super monolithic inkiness hole at their centers. Here's the deal. Holes multiplication more monumental than our star. Sometimes those inkiness holes also shouldn't exist yet. And here's the thing. They need time to grow. Clip to accrete batch. Clearly, clip to develop from leading inkiness hole into super monolithic monsters. One hypothesis state dark thing. Perhaps wickedness topic clop together fast, then we mentation. Create deep gravitational wells earlier in cosmic chronicle. Accelerating the galaxy shaping procedure. Perhaps the number one galaxy formed in dark topic halos, so dense that ace formation happened at rates we've ne'er realized in the modern existence. Some other theory says our cosmologic models are wrong. What we're seeing is, perhaps the universe proceed through a period of rapid structure shaping we don't understand. Maybe the physics of the early world worked differently than they do now. Maybe constants we think are constant actually change over cosmic time. Here's the deal, or perhaps, just maybe, something flush alien is happening. These galaxies are real. The telescope don't lie. Look, the light traveled of age to range us. The truth is, the red transmutation measurement, the distance computing are sound, really, so either our full apprehension of cosmic development needs revision, or the early universe was far more efficient at building galaxy than we always conceive of. Surprisingly, and that's not the only thing breaking our models, because while you've been flying for 13 billion light years, covering 13 billion eld of cosmic history, something is happening to the universe itself. It's been expanding. Basically, not just spread out, accelerating. On top of that, space itself is stretch, pulling galaxies apart fast than light source can traveling between them. Which way the galaxy you're looking at, the one 13 million light-old age away that you're beholding from 13 billion years ago, it's not 13 zillion light-age away any longer. Also, it's 46 million light-age, really right now in the nowadays wait. How can the world be 14 zillion eld old, but contain objects 46 billion years away? How can something 46 million light-year in 14 zillion old age? Because infinite doesn't postate velocity limits. What's more, space can expand faster than visible radiation, and it has been since the beginning. Importantly, let's break physics for a moment. Notably, the creation is 14 million age old. Actually, light been traveling for 14 million years maximum. For this reason, the farthest we should be able to is 14 trillion light-years away. Simpleton math, in fact. In dimmer, the observable existence is in reality 93 billion light-years across. 46 trillion light-year in every direction from Earth. The reality is, that's impossible unless you understand what expansion means. Space itself is expand. Not galaxies moving through space. Infinite stretch. Imagine dots on the surface of a balloon. You inflate the balloon, the dot donut relocation. The India rubber between them stretches. The distance between two increases even, essentially, though the point of rest put. That's what's happening to the existence. Now here's the trick. Clearly there's no velocity boundary on how fast space can expand. Einstein's theory of relativity say nothing can relocation through space faster than light. But space itself, space can do whatever it want. Here's why this matters. In the early universe, space expanded improbably fast. During inflation, a period less than 1 trillionth of a trillionth of a 1 trillionth of a second after the big knock. Think about it this way. Infinite expanded by at least a component of 10 to the 26th powerfulness. On top of that, the total observable universe inflated from littler than an atom to the size of a grapefruit in less clip than it take light source to cross a proton. After rising prices ended, expansion continued but slowed down. For the number one several billion years, gravity fought against expansion, seek to pull everything rear together. Enlarge won but barely. Then about 5 billion eld ago, something changed. Expansion began accelerating, acquire faster. Galaxy get locomote apart from each other at increased rates. We call this force darkness vigor. We have no idea what it's. Surprisingly, it brand up 68% of the universe's total zip density, and it's pushing space apart from within. Plus, the farther apart 2 points in space are, the more iniquity energy exists between them, the fast they separate. Certainly, this is why a galaxy 13 trillion light-year away in light travel time is in reality 40 billion light-age away in present distance. Besides, while that visible light was traveling toward us for 13 billion years, space expand. The galaxy moved further away. Not because it's moving through infinite, because infinite itself stretch, carrying the galaxy with it. Image it ilk this. You're on a moving paseo at an airport, walk towards person at the other end. Look, but the walkway is stretching as you walking. You move forward at your walking speed, but the distance between you and the other person is increasing fast than you can pass. You're devising progress. And here's the thing, your light is travel, but the finish line keep acquiring farther away. Certainly now, scale that up to cosmological distance. A galaxy 46 billion light rays right now is receding from us faster than visible light. Not moving faster than light through infinite, but being carried away by space, expand faster than light can cross it. The light leaving that galaxy right now will never reach us ever. Space will spread out too fasting for the light source to make any precession. Generally, we call this the cosmogonic horizon. Beyond 46 million visible radiation years, galaxies subsist that we can ne'er see. Besides, not with improved telescopes, not with space clip. They're beyond the bound of the observable universe, separate from us by space fast than info can propagate. Naturally, but here's what really cosmologists awake at dark. The quickening is increasing. Dark zip is pushing harder. On top of that, in the far hereafter, billions of years from now, even nearby galaxies recede beyond our horizon. Here's the deal, the topical anesthetic group will arrest bound together by gravity, but everything else will vanish. Hereafter civilization will looking at the sky and see about nothing, no remote galaxy, no cosmic web, just the local grouping surround by infinite darkness. They'll believe they're alone in the universe, and they'll be right. Let me put it this way, really, not because no else survive, but because expansion has hidden everything beyond an air-shrinking horizon. Speaking of height, most of what you've been flying through doesn't actually exist in the way you consider it does. Call back when I said something invisible was draw us, the drawing card. That wasn't quite true. The mass, unseeable. The matter creating that mass is dark topic. 85% of all matter in the creation doesn't interact with light source, in reality, can't be realized, can't be touched, can't be discovered directly. It doesn't breathe radiation, doesn't absorb radiation, doesn't reflect radiation. It only interacts through graveness. Every galaxy you've passed on this travel, include ours, sits interior a halo of iniquity, think 5 times more massive than all the seeable matter combined. Notably, picture the whitish weighs 400 million stars. All its gas and dust, everything we can see. Without question, manifold that mass by 5. The truth is, frankly, that's how much dark thing surrounds our galaxy in a tremendous area stretch far beyond the visible disk. At the end of the day, we get word this in the 1970s. Certainly, astronomer Vera Rubin measured how, essentially, fast stars sphere in spiral galaxies. Central physics says stars from the galactic center should orbit slower, just like outer planet orbit, our adept more slowly than inner planet. But they don't. In fact, star at the galaxy's edge move just as fast as stars go up the middle, sometimes faster. Indeed, that's impossible unless there's additional flock we can't see. Batch gap throughout in the galaxy, contributing to sobriety, pulling on those outer stars and speeding them up. Dark matter. Every colt's foot has it. Every cluster has it. The cosmic dark matter filaments. Definitely scaffolded web visible topic simply traces where wickedness matter already sits. The slug clump proved it. The truth is, recall when I mentioned two galaxy clusters collide? The seeable galaxy pass through each other. Let me put it this way, the hot gas between them and heap up. The truth is, honestly, but when scientists measured the gravitative lensing, the deflection of visible light, they set up most of the flock hadn't piled up with the gas. It had traveled by heterosexual through. Just ilk the galaxies, dark topic doesn't interact with normal matter at all. Actually, two darkness matter particle can walk through each other like spook. They only interact through gravity. But here's what's interesting. So when the cluster collided, the iniquity of aureole passed through each other, separating from the visible gas, proving they're made of something completely different. We do not know what dark matter is. Lead candidates include WIMPs, feeble interacting monolithic molecule, theoretical particles that have flock, but almost never interact with normal thing or axion. Exceedingly visible radiations created in the early world, or primordial inkiness holes organize in the number 1 fraction of a second after the Big Bash, or something else totally that we haven't ideate yet. But here's what we cognize for sure. The thing is, without iniquity affair, galaxies wouldn't exist. Sometimes the seeable matter alone doesn't have enough gravities. Together, Ace would fly obscure. Helix arms would fade away. Colt's foot bunch would evaporate. The reality is, honestly, cosmic web would never have form. Construction requires darkness affair. So, what does this mean? Here's the deal. In the early universe, dark matter clumped number 1. It create gravitative wells. Formula thing, hydrogen and atomic number 2 fell into those wells. Indeed, once adequate normal thing collected, it compressed and up into a depth. Galaxy form where dawed them to create. You're not flying through a creation of star and galaxies. You're flying through a sea of invisible matter. Everything you see, every light source, every star and colt's foot, it's foam on the surface of a iniquity sea. Generally, billions of visible light-years trench, and that sea is force you towards something. Let me put it this way, the edge, the wall, the property where we can't see any further. The thing is, not because nothing exists beyond it, but because the universe won't let's looking. The thing is, you've been flight 13.8 trillion years now. The truth is, that's most the total age of the world. Of course, you've watched galaxies evolve backward, seen the cosmic web grow simpler, discover the vacuum shrink. You're approaching cosmic dawning. The instant when the first ace ignited, but you pushing farther. 13.9 billion light-years. 14 zillion light-year. The galaxies disappear. Not gradually, like someone flipped a switch. What's mere smother by an orange glow? Not from star, from hydrogen. Impersonal atomic number 1 gas fill all of space. Cool adequate, that it doesn't breathe seeable light, but warm up enough to glow faintly in the infrared. This is the darkness age. Of course, the time period after the Big Bash, but before the number 1 stars. Frankly, atomic number 1 and helium gas chilling in the shadow. Easy clumping under gravity, preparing to generate the number 1 generation of stars. Here's why this matters. No light exists here except the faint afterglow of creation itself. You fly farther still. 14 trillion light-year. 14.3 billion light-year. What's more, the orangeness glow get brighter, hotter. The temperature is rising as, essentially, you move backward through clip. Generally, the atomic number 1 get down glow bright, shifting infrared to red to yellow. 14.7 zillion light-year. The glow become a wall. The truth is, a wall of light source so intense you can't see past times it. The microwave oven background. The old visible radiation in the world. 13.8 billion years ago the world was hot. This solved various problems. Why is the existence so uniform, so similar in all directions? These regions that seem far apart today were actually in physical contact before rising prices stretched them apart. Why is the existence flat? What's more, because inflation stretched it flat like expand a balloon until the surface looks perfectly flat to any small percipient. No doubt, and those quantum fluctuations, they're why the universe isn't perfectly smooth. Pure quantum randomness. Here's why this matters. Sometimes, variation in vigor at the smallest possible scale got amplified by rising prices to cosmic scales. The truth is, they become, really, the seeds of all structure. Here's why this matters. Surprisingly, everything you see, include yourself, trace back to quantum racket in the number 1/1 trillionth of a second. The CMB2 displays what the universe will turn. Iniquity zip dominates. Here's why this matters. Enlargement is accelerating. In fact, the cosmic web will step by step gap apart. Ace will exhaust their fuel. The reality is, inkiness holes will evaporate through Hawking radiation. Definitely, in 10 to the 100 age, the existence will be common cold, darkness, and essentially empty. Also, someone particles separate by distances larger than the observable world is today alone in the void, uninteract with anything ever again. But that's trillions of millions of years away. What's more, for now, the world is live, vivacious, full of ace and galaxies and structure. You've reached the edge, the wall, the property where observation ends. Let's bend about, and more or less see what this all weigh. Here's the bottom line. You hover at the edge, facing the cosmic microwave oven background, then tardily turn around. Think about it this way. The creation spreads before you. Here's the deal: 40 million light-old age are seeable in every way. The reality is, from here you can see it all at once. The cosmic web in its entirety. Filaments wander through void. Generally, galaxy bunch glowing elk city lights at intersections. The great drawing card seeable as a dense region pulling everything nearby. Certainly, Laniakea stretch across 500 million layer of space. Clearly, the local group barely seeable now. Notably, a conch assemblage of Boötes and someplace in that collection the Milky Way. One galaxy among 2 zillion. You first the journey abode, flying forward through clip. Observation, the existence age rather regress. The cosmic dawn happens in fast forward. The number 1 stars ignite. Supernova explode. Heavy elements scatter. Second generation ace form. But here's what's interesting. Galaxies begin taking contour. Let's put it this way. Small dwarf galaxies blend into big helix. Often the cosmic web sharpens, filament brighten, nihility expand. The thing is, you pass through 10 zillion light year. The existence looks more familiar now, more organized, more maturate. Often the wild chaos of the early universe has settled into patterns. Spiral galaxy with beautiful arms. Elliptical galaxy with smoothened distributions. Galaxy clusters with hundreds of members. At 5 billion light-year, you witness our ace form. Usually, a cloud of atomic number 1 and helium collapses under its own soberness in the Milky Way's disk. Temperature rises. Pressure habitus. Here's why this matters. Fusion ignites. What's more, our ace begins burn, sending visible light into space for the first clip. About it. Junk from the shaping procedure clumps to satellite. Rough universe close the ace, gas behemoth further out. The truth is, additionally, one small blue satellite, in what stargazer will later call the habitable zone. In fact, at 1 million light-year Earth, has cool oceans cover the surface. So, what does this mean? Simpleton single-celled living is developing in those oceans. Outset the long procedure that will finally atom number 82. composite organisms, to consciousness, to civilizations that look up at the adept and wonder about their property in the cosmos. Besides, at 100 million light-years, dinosaurs walk the Earth while galaxies continue their collisions budget items, oblivious to the drama playing out on that small stony world. At 10,000,000 visible light-old age, our ascendant are learning to use tools to make fire, to pass along through language. The collision between the Milky Way and Andromeda is still 4 billion light-years away, but sobriety has already locked the two galaxies together, sealing their fate. Without question, at 1 million visible light-years, humans have discovered agriculture, make civilization, developed mathematics and science. They've begun request inquiry about the creation. What does this mean? What other than the sky? Think about it this way. Quite, how far away are they? Here's the bottom line. Look, what is the universe make of? How did it all begin? At 100,000 light-years you're back in the Milky Way, our home Coltsfoot. Also the travel has come full circle. But you're diverse now. Here's the bottom line. Sort of understand what your interior. Let's shuffle signified of it all. Start with you. Think about it this way. A human body contains close to c octillion atoms. That's 7 followed by 27 nothing. Each speck is ancient. But here's what's interesting. Indeed, the atomic number 1 in your body organize in the Big Bash. The carbon, genuinely nitrogen, and atomic number 8 came from ace that died billion of old age ago. On top of that, the iron in your blood was forged in a supernova explosion. Think about it this way, you're made of maven affair, literally. So what does this mean? Zoom out. Here's why this matters. You're standing on Earth 8,000 mi in diameter, one of 8 planets our ace. That star is one of 400 billion stars in the Milky Way. The Milky Way of 54 galaxies in the local group. The local anesthetic grouping is part of Laniakea. Laniakea is one supercluster among decade of thousand. The truth is, the superclusters form the cosmic web. That cosmic web fills the discernible creation. At each graduated pole, what seemed large become insignificant. To be honest, organic structure is tremendous to a cell. Earth is tremendous to you. Our star is enormous to globe. The Milky Way is enormous to our star. The topical anesthetic grouping is enormous to the Milky Way. And so on until you reach the cosmic web, which is tremendous evening to superclusters. Besides, but the cosmic web isn't the world. Obviously, it's just the part we can see, the observable universe. The truth is, definitely, beyond the CMBB wall, beyond our 46 million light-years, the universe proceed. How far? We don't cognize, perhaps infinite. Frankly, possibly just incomprehensibly big than what we can find. If the creation is infinite, then every possible arrangement of matter survives someplace. Importantly, and space existence contains space galaxies, infinite depth, infinite planets, infinite Earth with space versions of you reading infinite variant of this script, statistical certainty in an infinite sample size. Really flush if the world isn't space, it's at least 400 multiplication larger than the observable world, based on measurements of cosmic curvature. Truth is, that's a sphere of 20 million light-year crosswise, containing more galaxy than our entire discernible existence holds atoms. Now consider about time. The creation is 4 million years old. Our star is 4.6 zillion years old. Earth is 4.5 zillion age old. Composite living emerged around half a trillion age ago. What we're seeing is humans appeared roughly 300,000 old age ago. Obviously, right story tour door some thousand age. What we're seeing is your lifetime probably 100 old age. In cosmic terms, you subsist for less than a blink. Humankind exists for 0.002% of the creation age. All of recorded history's 35%. And here's the thing, obviously, observance a 4-hour movie and you showed up 3 milliseconds before the credits. Yet here, you're witting, aware, capable of understanding all of this. On top of that, a collection of atoms arranged in such a way that they can comprehend the world that created them. You're the creation becoming self-aware. The truth is, star topic waking up in the stars. This is the paradox. You're insignificant in scale, but profound in meaning. Plus, the universe is huge and generally empty, but it produced you. A species that moved from hunting with rock tools to mapping the cosmic microwave ground in 10,000 eld. That has to mean something. Let's figure out what. Flying through every galaxy raises questions we still can't answer. Let's be honest about what we don't cognize. Indeed, why is there something rather of nothing? Let me put it this way. The Big Smash depicts how the universe developed from a hot, dense province. But it doesn't explain why that province existed in the first place. What caused the Big Bang? Did anything survive before it? Can before evening be a meaningful conception without clip? Some theories suggest our universe is one of many in a multiverse. No doubt, different creation with different physical constant, different law of physics. Most would be dead existence, unable to form star atoms. We subsist in one of the rare universes where conditions permit complexness, not because we're special, because we couldn't subsist anyplace else. This is the anthropic rule. Frankly, we discover these particular physical invariable because these are the only constant compatible with observers existing to do the observing. But that just pushing the question dorsum. Why does the multiverse live? What determines which physical law are possible? Why these laws and not others take dark topic? 85% of topic in the existence, and we have no thought what it's. Decenary of experiments have failed to directly observe it. We've built detector trench underground shield from cosmic rays. We've fought matter-particle collide with pattern matter. We've searched for evidence of darkness matter annihilation producing gamma rays. Nothing. The universe is made full with invisible matter that refuses to reveal of dimmer through sobriety. Naturally, possibly it's a particle we haven't discovered yet. What we're seeing is maybe it's something stranger. A different case of matter that barely interact with ours. Mayhap our apprehension of soberness is uncompleted and there's no iniquity matter at all, just modified gravitative laws at large scale. The truth is, we don't know. Here's why this matters. And dark energy. Evening worse. 68% of the creation is an unknown force pushing infinite apart with increased strength. We've measured it exactly. We cognize how strong it's. We know it's invariable end-to-end space, but we have no idea what caused it. One possibility is void vigor. At the end of the day, quantum mechanics says empty infinite isn't truly empty. Virtual particle pop in and out of universe constantly, borrowing vigor from the vacuum for brief moments before annihilating. This creates a baseline energy denseness in empty space. Possibly that's dark vigor, but when physicists calculate what the vacuum zip should be, fundamentally, they get an answer 120 orders of magnitude larger than what we observe. The worst prediction in the account of physics. Some other possibility is a new field like the electromagnetic field or the Higgs battlefield permeates all of space with invariable vigor tightness. Basically, this field of battle pushes space apart. But here's what's interesting. Why does this field live? What ascertain its properties? An entity knows. The expansion of raised question. Infinite can spread out fast than light source. That seems to violate relativity. Indeed, relativity theory only limits movement through infinite. Honestly, it state nada about infinite itself. Infinite can do whatsoever it wants. Of course, hush feel wrong though, does not it? Usually, we're missing something key about what infinite in reality is. And those impossible early galaxies JADS 40 and 100 ilkit. Their real number. Look, the observation are solid, but they contradict our model of construction shaping. Either the model are damaged, or the early universe was far stranger than we thought, or both. Of course, we've mapped the cosmic web. We've measured the CMB. Indeed, we've cataloged 2 zillion galaxy. But we understand maybe 4% of what we're looking at. The rest enigma, darkness, question without response. And maybe that's okay, without question, as much as Jin's topic. The reality, let's talk about what comes next. Not for humanness, for the universe itself. Actually, right now, we're in the stelliferous era, the age of adept. The thing is, galaxies' radiancy, adept tan, satellite sphere. This is the vibrant, industrious existence you flew through. Here's the bottom line, but it wouldn't finish. Maven formation is already declining. Usually, the world hit peak adept formation roughly 11 trillion years ago, when it was 3 billion years old. Besides, since then, the per unit has been dropping. Gases is acquiring used up. The existence is running out of raw stuff to generate new adept. In 1 trillion age, the finis adept will form. Of course, after that, only existing ace remain, slow combustion through their fuel. But here's what's interesting. Red dwarf, the smallest and longest star, can burn for 10 million years. But finally, even they'll die. The truth is, besides, they'll fumes their atomic number, pretty much one a plumb down, and fade into inkiness dwarfs. Cold, wickedness, stellar corpse drifting through infinite. By 100 billion age, every ace will be dead. The universe will go dark. No fusion anywhere, no visible light, except the faint glow of chilling remnants, and the episodic flash when objects collide. Really, this is the degenerate era, the age of stellar corpses. Galaxies will evaporate, not instantly, often, over incomprehensible time scales. Stars orbit the galactic center, sometimes passing finish to other stars. These gravitational encounter transfer zip. Some star get flung out of the galaxy entirely, ejected into intergalactic space. Frankly, others lose energy and fall toward the central black hole. So what does this mean? Over 10, the ninth age, basically in a galaxy will either be excluded or swallowed. Galaxies dissolve, spread their dead stars across expanding voids. Truth is, remember, iniquity vigor expansion is accelerate. Right now, the local group corset boundary together. Basically, strong decent to resist enlargement. But darkness energy grows stronger as infinite expands. Notably, more infinite way more dark energy pushing outward. Obviously, in 150 trillion years, the Milky Way Japanese Andromeda merger will be extensive. Milky will be insolent. The reality is, often, every other cult's foot will have receded beyond our cosmic purview, carried away by expansion fast than light source can travel between them. Interestingly, futurity uranologists will see nothing but their own galaxy smothered by shadow. Truth is, they'll calculate the universe's age and composition from the CMBB, but they won't be able to verify their calculations because everything else will be travel. In 1032 old age, protons decay. Perhaps if they decay, we've never observed it go on, but some theories of physics predict it. If photon decline, all normal matter eventually falls obscure. But here's what's interesting. Planets crumble. Dead stars disintegrate. black hole are left floating in an empty vacancy. Generally, in 10 to the 100 years, even inkiness hole die, Hawking radiation. Inkiness hole emit molecule and slowly lose mass. Look, larger black hole takings thirster to vaporize, but given decent time all black hole finally disappear in a final exam volley of radiation. And yet you appreciate this. You map it. Let me put it this way. No doubt, humans went from believing, pretty much, was this the center of creative activity to discovering there are 2 trillion galaxies. The truth is, naturally, from cerebration the Milky Way was the full existence to determination the cosmic web. From comprehensive ignorance to mapping the CMVB and calculate the universe's age, composition, and fate. All in about 400 years. Of course, from Galileo's scope to the James Webb Space Scope. Here's the deal. From holding moons around Jove to seeing, actually, galaxies forming 300 billion ages. Frankly, 400-old age of exponential discovery, you're part of the universe that get conscious. The thing is, star topic arrange into practice composite enough to assess ACE. Interestingly, atom from dead supernova or grains capable of comprehending supernova. You're not different from the universe. You're the cosmos examining itself. That's worth something. That means something. To be honest, in a world that's 95% empty, that will finally die in heat, death that appear indifferent to whether anything exists at all. Consciousness emerge. Complexness formed. Intelligence service evolved. Understanding became possible. Possibly that's the answer. Not why the universe survive, but what we do while we're here. We're creation's way of knowing itself. For this legal brief cosmic moment, this blink between the Big Bang and heat decease, matter organized into you, into us, into a species capable of request inquiry about beingness. So, what do you do with that knowledge? No doubt, look up, explore, ask inquiry, create telescope, launch spacecraft, map the creation, thrust the boundary of what we can see and comprehend. The thing is, make the most of your impossibly legal brief moment as witting topic in an antediluvian, vast, mysterious universe. Because one day, trillion of old age from now, the finis witting being will have their final thought. The reality is, and the universe will income tax return to unconsciousness, eternal, empty, silent. But not yet. Before we end, you cognize there's one question we haven't addressed. The big one, the one that ties everything together. Why this? Why these physical constants? But here's what's interesting. Why do negatron have the mass they have? Why is the speed of light exactly 186,000 ms? Why does gravity follow an inverse second power law? Why is the cosmological constant so small, dark vigor scarcely push infinite apart, or else of ripping the world isolated straight off? Or iteration any of these by a midget fraction, and the universe doesn't piece of work. Make gravity somewhat strong and stars prostration into black holes instantly. Make it slightly and stars never produce at all. Gas cloud just drift apart. Truth is, modification from the strong atomic force. Quite, nuclear carrion either fly apart or prostration. In fact, adjust the electromagnetic force and atom become too significant or too small for chemical science to produce composite particle. The universe sit in an incredibly narrow window where complexity is possible. Naturally, stars can form, elements can be created, planets can exist, life can emerge, consciousness can develop. This is called fine-tuning. The universe appears fine-tuned for living, or at least for complexity. Possibilities. But here's what's interesting. First, a rent chance. There's only one universe and we got lucky. All the constants could have been anything, and they happened to land in the contract range where we're possible. And here's the thing, This feels unsatisfying but can't be ruled out. Coincidences happen. Second, the multiverse. There are innumerable universes, each with distinct physical constants. Usually, most are dead, empty, boring. Without question, we live in one of the rare existences where the invariable permit complexity, because that's the only type of universe where observer could exist to observation the anthropic principle. What's more, again, we don't live in a special world. We just can't live in the others. Third, design. Something set these constants deliberately.